Hello, everyone, and welcome to 40,000 Layers. In this show, I'm Tashna. Hello. I learned to paint a whole bunch of minifigures and hopefully get better at it. And Sheepy, aka the Wandering Inn. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Hi.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna go through all of your intro and.
I like to say hello. Okay. Well, he's teaching me about the Warhammer 40k lore, and today.
Hello.
Well, okay. I'll just take a breath.
I'm sorry, but that had to happen.
Yeah, okay. Thank you to everyone who is supporting the stream. Shout out to the patrons who are able to make this happen, which are Ian, Mark, particularly Money, Damned Man, Ramona, V Mushroom, Retrograde Vector, Azean, and Grey Blue One. So thank you very much for all that support. If you want to support the show and you enjoy it, then do check it out over on patreon.com/40,000 layers. We have exclusive posts. We have a Discord channel, and you can vote for every month's topic. So the vote for this month that won out. Well, it didn't win out because the trolls, but it ended up being the Emperor. So we're going to learn about the Emperor today.
Yes.
And in January, we are going to be learning about.
Is it the towel?
The Tau, your favorite of all time.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I was gonna have to do the towel sometime.
Yeah. It's gonna be all right. You'll be fine. You'll get through it. So, with that being said, as I said, we're gonna be learning about the Emperor today, and because it's December, we're gonna be painting the Red Gobbo and Bounca. Here he is.
For the Emperor.
For the Emperor. I mean, I'm sure the Emperor will love this.
Yeah.
This is a timed release from Games Workshop. It's only available until the 31st of December, so I thought, why not grab it? And it's cute. And we just painted some orc, so...
Yeah, we also were looking at all of the minis, and we were like, what do we get for the Emperor? And my suggestion was Adeptus Custodes, and to quote Tash, they look dumb.
I probably said something along those lines, but not those exact words.
I think if I'm going exactly, I believe you said there's a lot of gold.
There is a lot of gold. They're so extra. They're so extra. It's ridiculous.
Well,
I probably
you'll
said
find
that,
out
to be honest.
why they're so extra when we do the Adeptus Custodes.
Because they're like money. Probably. I don't know if that's true. Do they like money?
Not really, no.
Okay, well, I was wrong. But shall we? I better get painting. I've got 40 paints to get through for this model. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so that's why I sound like that.
Well, that's good because I'm gonna be the
the talky one.
In a second after you finish the intro, I'll be the talky one.
That was the intro. It was beautiful, I thought.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're not gonna mention the amazing fact that we just released a couple of videos for the patrons.
So today I just released a video for the patrons, which is for the $5 plus tier, where we podcast style talk about Magnus the Red and the Thousand Sons, and I've synced up the Vortimus, the All-Seeing paint, so that it's the same amount of time. I think it's about 2 hours in length. So that is out now for patrons if you want to go check that out. And by the time this video is out as well, there should be the salamanders and the painting of the slith. So check that out if you're patrons already. And if you're not, then you
consider supporting the show. And you get a few little benefits, a few little bonus content things. We're considering... Well, we're considering some... Were there stickers?
Yes, I'm just trying to make sure that they are the best they can be, because you know what I'm like. I am a perfectionist, and
I
if
do,
something
yes.
is mildly wrong, that's
You hate it for
unacceptable.
eternity,
If
and thus went the Eldar.
it's
Poor Eldar.
unacceptable for things to not be perfect.
Yeah.
Wow, this model's really tiny. Okay, cool. Why have I done this to myself? I already have regrets.
And we're off.
And we're off. That's how you know the video started.
Yeah.
I regret everything.
Um
Yeah, but you
I yeah, no, I had one more thing that I was like, I should mention this, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, we are also, as we do the show, and because there's only, for now, because there's only one a week, one a month.
one a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there is a video releases every week. So it's still kind of right.
Yeah, we're talking about things and trying to figure out extra patron content and all that type of thing. So keep an eye out. There's a possibility of things. We'll see how everything goes. So
If you
but
have
for
any
now,
thoughts or things that you enjoy and you'd like to
yes.
see,
If you want to post memes during the live show, Sheepy
are you
Sheepy couldn't
forgetting your
resist.
own name?
I said Sheepy.
Yeah, but for a moment you didn't.
Well, I keep an eye on the 40,000 layers in Tash's Discord, which is where the patrons can chat. And last time there were some memes thrown up that were very, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so
Are you okay?
yes, I have in my notes where to start with the Emperor,
Yeah.
and I disagree with it. So I'm trying to come to terms with whether to like side with my past self or my current self.
Um, Past self.
Okay. So past self thought that we should talk about the origins of the Emperor first.
I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Well, yeah, it does. The problem is that we're going to have to talk about the different ages.
Yeah.
The age of terror, the age of technology, the age of strife. There are more ages, don't worry. The Unification Wars, the Great Crusade, the Horus Heresy, and the Age of the Imperium, essentially the times.
Yeah.
So the first thing is we should talk about the non-canon and canon origin of the Emperor.
Was he birthed into being?
Kind of. It depends. So, so there was an original origin story for the Emperor,
Yeah.
which is no longer really considered canon. It may be canon, but it may not be canon, or it may all just be Imperial, lies. Who knows?
That happens like a decent amount, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah. Yeah. So the Emperor, I think in both versions, the Emperor was born, came into being, started existing in like the 8th millennium BC.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, they do still have the calendar, the how they measure passage of time in years and etc. They do still have the BC, that's where you get the zero starting.
Yeah, I mean, you think they'd have thought something new.
Well, the funny thing is that they still use that method of counting years, etc., but they don't remember Jesus. So, rip Jesus.
Before the Emperor, after the Emperor.
Well, there'd be no after then.
Yeah, I mean, yet.
And there'd be very little before as well.
They don't care about before.
Right.
They don't need that.
Well, there just wouldn't be any time then.
No, they don't need time.
Because the Emperor's a perpetual.
I learned about them. I remember these.
Yes, because we spoke when we spoke about the salamanders. One of the less good parts of the 40k lore, in my opinion. But that's fine.
Not a fan. You've already had that rant.
Yes, I have. Sorry, but they haven't heard it yet, so
Yeah.
you know.
He's not happy, basically. Long story short.
Although we have recorded Angron and the world. It was mostly Angron, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like we didn't talk about we did talk about the manliest of men, Khan, a bit.
Aw, best buddy Khan. What a champ.
Khan the Betrayer, which is I mean that's his title.
Well, I think he was a good friend.
Yeah. He's a little extra, isn't he?
Everyone's extra. You know what? They should just own it.
But yeah, during the Patreon, let's call it Patreon podcast for the sake of argument, we talked about how the goodest and most paladin of all the Primarchs set an Eldar child on fire.
One time.
Yeah.
My head still stands.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where you do it once, it's still pretty bad. You know, the number just makes it a bit more bad. So yes, the Emperor. Sorry, I
this
feel
is
like
worse than Maiacides.
Well, I feel like I'm delaying. I feel like I'm delaying it because the second we get into the Emperor, you're going to get grumpy and grumble about how he eats eyes and just
look. Who's not mad about that?
lots of people.
Well, they need to. I
feel like you took it personally.
He ate my eyes.
That's true. She turned me into a newt.
I got better. Contextually, I played an astropath.
Yes.
And obviously, a lot of them go blind after seeing the Emperor. So I had it in my head that he ate her eyes.
Yes.
Because he anyway. So she was a little bitter about that.
And yeah, the bestest space telephone.
Yeah. The best one, the only one they had.
Well, you know, that's
low bar.
So during the Age of Terror, which is essentially 1 AD to 14,999 AD.
You say terror, but that's like the world, isn't it? Not as in fear.
As in terra firma.
Yeah, I always hear like the fear terror.
I would try to say terror.
Terror.
Horror.
But I'm northern, so that's why I probably hear it as terror.
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 Oh, look out there, lads! There's terror.
Not from Sussex.
Oh, all right, there's some terror around here. So. I was doing it and I committed to it and I was like, but move on instantly. Don't allow pause for laughter or anything like that. Just go. yes, the Chaos Gods kind of existed in certain aspects. I don't think they'd fully become the Chaos Gods, but they were there. And humanity was kind of, forming and becoming sentient. One monkey picked up a rock and hit another monkey.
Mm-hmm.
That type of thing. Oh god, I wanted to make a reference to 2001 BC, 2001 Space Odyssey. But I can't remember the name of the music that has the swell. It's like, ba 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 ba. So yeah, that thing. Anyway,
This is so good.
yeah. We're getting there. Don't worry. We're gonna get into it. So this is the original place the Emperor came from. This is the original thing that people knew quite a while back in Games Workshop history, and reality, etc. Is that essentially psykers have kind of always existed, but they were referred to as shamans.
Yeah.
And the shamans back in humanity's history could essentially reincarnate in new bodies. And as they grew, they remembered their past lives and past experiences, and could kind of keep learning and keep progressing. And they were the ones who essentially had tried to help and guide humanity and protect them from the warp and from demons and all that type of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
However, after a little bit of time, they stopped reincarnating and started being consumed by the warp.
No.
Yes.
That's not okay for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were able to make more, right? Kind of.
Well, they made one.
The main character energy is going on here.
Yeah, they essentially they realized that if they couldn't reincarnate, then they would eventually all kind of die out, and their collective working together, collective
protection of humanity.
Yeah, that would eventually lead to them being
Super
kind of
dead. Extinct.
yeah, and it would lead humanity wouldn't have their guidance anymore and would go down a much more corrupty, chaosy path.
Could they see ahead, other factions we've spoken about can?
Yeah, humanity and psykers and seeing the future is a lot more vague. Both whether and how much they could do it and how much they actually can do it.
Right.
Possibly, it's possible they got portents and a bad feeling or something.
Right.
But I don't think they actually saw it. So that they could say for sure it was just one of those things they can infer.
This would be not wonderful. Let's do something else. Okay.
So, what they decided to do, instead of all dying off slowly kind of losing their shit and being absorbed into the warp and consumed, disappearing, they decided to collectively gather up and put all of their psyker-ness into one reincarnation.
Oh, I wonder who that is.
The new man.
New man?
Yeah, as in kind of like, a new evolution of
Oh,
mankind.
that's
That
okay
kind of,
then.
yeah. Uh, Thousands of them gathered together
I'm just tutting.
and
I'm just tutting at the Emperor here.
yes, we haven't got to the Emperor quite yet, but he's on his way. Thousands of them got together, killed themselves, and essentially all poured into the Immaterium, into the warp at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and formed the Emperor.
This is why he's so greedy.
Yes, and because of the sheer kind of like coalesced psyker power stuff that they were, it essentially wasn't really easy to for the demons to absorb or something. I don't know. I think that's what happened. It's a little unclear.
A little vague.
And then a year later, the emperor was born to normal people, but uh, he was so psychically powerful that he, essentially psychic energy altered him to be special, immortal. He grew tall and powerful and crazy and etc.
Did he grow like as fast as his Primarchs?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It like so. One of the things that you'll find as we go over his two-ish origin stories, he a lot about him is a bit shrouded in obscurity.
Yeah.
Possibly because they don't want to lock anything down. I think there's a little bit more with the original origin story, and the newer origin story is a bit more vague. So,
Yeah. I mean, he does have a lot of enemies, so even so, if no one knows the real origin, then
yeah.
they can't use it against him somehow.
I mean, look what happened to Darth Vader slash Anakin Skywalker. Yeah,
Spoilers, dude.
I didn't say what happened to him. Also, if you don't know that yet, then so yeah, for a good long time,
Mm-hmm.
he just kind of existed and tried to help guide mankind.
Bet he did a rubbish job.
Well, it wasn't perfect. Um, I think the implication is that a lot of the moments of like farming and the wheel and that type of thing might have been him turning up and helping humanity basically like progress and get better.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
fair enough.
Interestingly, he really did like peace.
Sure he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I have a lot of little hatred. I didn't need to get over. So, it's kind of jokey, but so he likes peace until
Yeah.
I was gonna ask questions, but that gets like way ahead of everything, so I can't ask. Hiccup. I can't ask them.
I mean, are we weight sewing?
Yeah, I'm like,
should we
wait,
have
so
our first weight sew?
no, I'm trying to avoid it.
No, come on.
I was gonna
Let's.
ask. No, because I know it's gonna come up later,
Okay.
so I'll just wait.
No,
I'm just
no,
impatient.
give me the weight sew. I can choose not to
Yeah, I mean, so he
go
likes
down
peace.
the. Yes.
And so far we don't know anything about Xenos, so like, I'm thinking what happens to make him so angry.
Right. Okay. Yeah. We will get there. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew we would. So I'm like, well.
So essentially, like he existed throughout, like, technically speaking, if Warhammer 40k, which is real, which is real to me, but the Emperor's out there somewhere. He's influencing humanity. Occasionally, he'll be a power behind the scenes in some government or whatever, or he'll become like a big figure in history and all that type of things. And as humanity advanced, as we know, this led to the proper, birth of the Chaos Gods, well, 3 of the Chaos Gods, in the Warp.
Yeah.
Because there's more war. I think it was the Crusades or something where Khorne turned up. There's more war, there's more plagues, and there's more political intrigue and backstabbing, and just as planned.
All that fun stuff.
As they went on as well, the Emperor kind of like tapped into all the previous knowledge of all the shamans who made up his,
cabal,
who basically formed his creation. Yeah. Unfortunately, even the Emperor, or at this time, the new man.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know his name, do we?
No.
People won't have just been calling this child the new man. That's too much.
Well, yeah, but it's like when you eventually end up with the Emperor being, the Emperor of mankind on the Golden Throne, all this type of thing. Spoilers, by the way. It's kind of difficult when you're writing the lore to be like, his parents would have named him though, right? So he probably has a name, and then someone's like, what about Roger?
It is too generic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's you give him a name and he feels very, very like
he's actually Zeus.
Yeah, even Zeus, Zeus sitting on the Golden Throne.
Yeah.
Plus, Zeus had some very worrying habits.
Yeah, the Emperor eats people.
Yeah. And to be fair, like, Zeus's parents were worse, so.
Anyway, Harold, the Emperor.
God, Harold. Harry the Emperor.
This is why he's changed his name.
Yeah. He's like, I wanted to be the new man. God. So he was aware of the chaos powers, the chaos gods. He tried to make it so that humanity was nice and, friendly to each other. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, humanity suck. Yeah, humans suck. Not so much. And the Chaos Gods were also, to a certain degree, aware of him. They actually, I think, in both versions of his origin story, and etc. The Emperor is referred to by Chaos as the Anathema.
Oh. Okay.
So, yeah.
Order in the universe, then.
And slowly they essentially were like, wow, this dude may be a problem, so stick a pin in that. We'll see about.
We'll come back to that in a few thousand years. I'm sure that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah. One of the problems is essentially once we started to think about, hey, let's go to space and explore the galaxy and all this type of stuff. The Emperor's like, ooh, that's that could be bad. Like there's more there's a lot of chaos out there, and there's corruption and all that type of thing. Not to mention all the other things that are out there. Q like Eldar and orcs and sleeping Necrons and all that type of thing. And
some friends.
as time went on, more psykers popped up.
Yeah.
Which meant that more psykers got corrupted and more psykers were uncontrolled and crazy and etc.
Exploding and stuff.
Yeah. Eventually, and I think essentially the birth of Slaanesh and subsequent, I think it's the Age of Strife, although we'll get into that. The Emperor was like, all right, like, you've had your chance. Now, I'm in charge, and I'm going to make humanity be right.
Oh. Bossy.
Well, at the time, I think it was the Age of Strife, where essentially the entire galaxy got fragmented apart.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good reason, but...
Yeah. There were a lot of, like, chaos incursions all over the place, like psykers exploding and, all the kind of general stuff that happens.
When Slaanesh is birthed, yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously after that, the Emperor kind of reformed. He like reconquered. He turned up, conquered Terra, and then went out on the crusade, the Grand Crusade, Great Crusade.
Whatever.
How's his crusade called? He had a crusade, and it was it was just the Great Crusade. It was Unification Wars, Great Crusade, and then he essentially, after the Great Crusade wasn't even finished, he was like, hey, Webway project, let's do that. Spoilers.
Wait, so... No, I'm kidding. You getting ahead of the story now.
Hey, you know a little bit about the Imperial Webway project.
I do.
Because we've talked about Magnus. Oh, poor Kool-Aid man, just busting through that wall. So essentially, that's the Emperor. He turns up and he starts to mess about with science and progressing humanity once he can, and then he's like, I'm gonna need warriors to deal with all the threats. So let's get. Actually, these are someone we haven't really talked about. The Thunder Warriors were to essentially conquer the planet, and then the Space Marines were to
conquer space.
Well, yeah.
Who the fuck?
However, none of that exactly happened.
Oh, because this is the first version. So
that was the original origin story.
Mm-hmm. The fake origin story.
Yeah.
Now.
The fun thing about 40k and all that type of thing is they could essentially be like, yeah, that's just a folk legend that the Inquisition put about to explain the Emperor. Something around on those lines.
But the second one.
The second one is essentially, it's quite similar, except for nothing is really known about the Emperor until he turns up during the Age of Strife and like unifies the planet.
Right, so he wasn't necessarily birthed from the shaman, and he wasn't birthed to like normal people. Okay.
It's there's a lot of implication that it may have been that way, but it's not confirmed. They like the kind of like, well, in universe, no one's really sure because the information's been lost or whatever. So
make it up yourself if you wanna.
yeah, or like these are the things that the Imperium believes, or that is like snippets of conversation. I think it was Horus. No. Sorry, that Horus found out a few bits and pieces about Malcador, and we haven't talked about Malcador very much.
So much of the history and lore and everything is from the Imperium sort of
perspective
side of things. So we don't know a lot because they just know less than they think they do.
Well, I mean, the Tyranids have been around for ages now.
Yeah.
And we don't know anything about their origins.
They're just so friendly, that's all.
Yeah, it's yeah.
They just want warm hugs.
One of the kind of rumored type things is that instead of like sacrificing themselves, the Emperor was like a progressive reincarnation of all like psykers who slowly, and shamans and stuff who slowly died, and they just kind of like kept getting resurrected into like they kept pooling their energies basically.
Yeah.
Until the Emperor was born, and then he had all their
energy.
He had all their memories, and he slowly kind of unlocked them, and in some like computer games and stuff, it's like, oh, here's how powerful you were at the start. Now we take all of that away, and you slowly get to remember it, or like reacquire all your gear and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a little bit like that.
I'd be so annoyed. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean?
Why do I have to start at level 1? I know what it's like to be level 50.
I have to do all this work and they just like get to chill out. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat all the psykers.
So a lot of the kind of origins of the Emperor is like, oh, it's said that he did this, or not super important.
Wow, this is red.
Oh yeah, it is.
Sorry.
Well, he was, and may have been the most powerful psyker ever produced by humans.
Yeah.
And a perpetual.
Yes.
We won't get into perpetuals.
Wait, so yeah, I know I just said it. If it's a perpetual.
Yeah.
I'm getting way ahead of myself here. So I know he has to eat psykers to sort of maintain his hold and stuff.
Yes.
But he won't die if he doesn't have them.
Sorry, he's kind of progressed past. He's pretty dead.
That's what I mean. But if he's a perpetual,
yeah,
then he's not meant to do that death thing.
Right. I think it's hard for me to say exactly. It's possible that different perpetuals operate in different ways. Vulcan is like, he reforms from basically anything. Is very hard to kill.
Yeah.
It's possible that the Emperor was more like Perpetual in the sense of he just kept going.
Right.
It was possible to kill him. Like the elves in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's like they live forever, but you can still kill them. It might be like that. I'm not 100% sure.
Stupid.
I wish I could be, but from what I saw, from what I've been able to tell, and also I'm not a fan of the Perpetual, so I haven't looked into that part specifically, whether it's like a specific rule set or something. I don't know. He did exist and was around a little bit during the Dark Age of Technology when humanity was all super powerful and stuff. He ran into some other immortals, other perpetuals. They kind of went around and did a few things. He traveled through. They found a gate leading into chaos, the realm of chaos. He went in, had a bit of a chinwag with some gods in there.
Don't do that.
Got some new powers. Got some knowledge he wanted to.
This sounds not good. Like, why? No, you can't do that.
I mean, he's the new bad. He could do whatever he likes.
Because now the Emperor's controlled by Tzeentch. That's it. That's it. We know what happens when you make deals.
Yes. However, he did, and he did also gain the knowledge required to create the Primarchs.
Fine.
Yeah, which, well, if the Chaos Gods and specifically Tzeentch had a hand in that, then...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that a lot. For humanity.
Yeah. It's not, yeah, it's not great. Essentially, when... same as with the original origin story, when the Age of Strife happened and everything was cut off and like billions of people were dying, the Emperor was like, all right, I'm gonna step up and reclaim Terra and then go out and reclaim everything else, and basically
give them something to do.
Yeah, he'd kind of had enough of all the senseless death and war and etc. I know, maybe he decided to get some sense in war and death and etc. Be interested to see his reasoning behind it, but I think it's one of those things where it's like, if I kill everyone now, later on, more lives will be saved later on, type thing.
It's very Eldar, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. So he he created his Thunder Warriors. We will talk about, don't worry. And then went to conquer Terra, which he did. Then created his while he was conquering Terra, he was also working on his Primarch project.
On the side.
On the side. I think it's. I remember reading that the Chaos Gods were like, "Yo, this is bad," and that's why they yeeted them. I think I also remember that the Chaos Gods were like, "Haha, screw you, weird Anathema dude," and just did it because the Emperor wanted them and were like, "You can't have this." So, not completely sure.
Right. Oh, God,
and then you have the Mechanicus on Mars, and them kind of joining up with the Emperor because it's easier than fighting him, and he's could have conquered them, but didn't really want to waste the stuff. Started creating the Space Marines, ready for when he found his Primarchs to lead them, and then for a mix of reasons, like one of the reasons to kind of like reclaim humanity and bring everyone back into the fold, but also I think to find his Primarchs, he
Yeah.
started the Great Crusade.
Oh, so he was looking for not humans.
Yes. Well, he was. I think he wanted to bring all of the to bring all of humanity back into the Imperium, but he essentially formed the Imperium for that reason. I think part of the reason he did his Great Crusade, or the Great Crusade happened, was because he wanted to find the Primarchs as well. But maybe I'm reading into it just because he's not the best of dads.
He's a terrible father.
Yeah.
I know this.
Yeah, not great.
Poor man.
So let's those are essentially the origin parts. What we'll do is we'll go through the Age of Terror, the Age of Technology, Age of Strife really quickly, just kind of cliff notes essentially, and then talk about the Unification Wars, and then the Great Crusade, and where the Emperor kind of goes once he reveals himself and starts taking a more active role. So, Age of Terror is essentially from the first 1 AD to the 15th millennia, like 15,000 AD.
Okay.
It's pretty much like up to where we are now. It's pretty much the same as reality, you know.
Yeah.
All the things that happened here probably happened there, but it's so long ago, no one really remembers. There's no, there's no record of it, so they don't really go into detail.
Yeah, they don't really care.
The birth of the Chaos Gods, or 3 of them at least, down to humanity basically fighting, getting sick, and trying to backstab each other.
Yep, that'll do it.
Eventually, obviously, figured out space travel, and we colonized everything in the
everywhere
in our system.
Mm-hmm.
And then colonized Mars, moons on Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune. Started doing terraforming, and Mars kind of became like a technological wonder. It had all the research stations and buildy places and all that type of thing.
Because the Mechanicus were just on Mars already, right? So
yeah,
humans just moved into.
Yeah. And then, the ability to travel between systems.
Mm-hmm.
The travel wasn't quick. So they'd send out like colony ships to planets, and then they'd have to make sure that they could land, and other stars, other planets, they made sure they could land and essentially exist by themselves, because
they weren't coming back for them. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's yeah, if
humans,
if you see a planet, claim it for your own. Yeah,
never change, do they?
Yeah. I think as time went on, they got and the technology kind of like got better. They started being able to like travel a bit faster and got a bit easier, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially the age of terror. That's pretty much it, I guess.
That was quick.
Yeah, there you go. 15,000 years, like that.
Boom.
So next up is the age of technology, which the Imperium often refers to as the Dark Age of technology.
Why do they call it the Dark Age? It sounds like, I don't know, it would be a good thing.
Well, so
Well, so.
this. Wait, is that my?
Yeah. Where is my Corax fight? I have too many others. I have too many colors.
Too many colors. Yeah. Well.
Sorry.
So.
Well.
The humanity essentially started to progress technologically reasonably quickly. I mean, like, it essentially the age of technology goes from like the 15th to 25th millennia, like vaguely ish. Because it's a long time ago, and especially because certain reasons, I guess, there's not much known about it. It would be similar to kind of like, prehistoric times where it's like, oh, the dinosaurs, they probably existed. We have proof, like like bones and stuff. But then, like, we're not 100% sure. That's why people say that they all look like birds, but in Jurassic Park they look like lizards,
We'll never know the real story.
Yeah.
Until we get time travel.
Until we get time travel.
Whoa. Sorry.
Which, as we all know, ruins every good story. Aside from Back to the Future. And maybe the first couple of Terminators. Anyway. And probably loads more that people shout about.
Yeah, there's so many. Like
However, it was not the best, just purely because during the age of technology, obviously they started being able to travel through space quicker. They started being able to colonize and terraform planets and do all these like amazing and wonderful things. The technology that exists in Warhammer 40k is so much worse than it was in the Age of Technology.
Yeah, because they've lost all the knowledge, right? So they have all the archaeotech.
Yeah,
I'm learning today.
Archaeotech stuff that's why it's so prized, because it can't be replicated. There's a couple of things that happen that we'll get to, but essentially, consider if you have a massive galaxy empire, or like a massive humanities all over the place with like amazing technologies that could do awesome things. You can move mountains, you can move planets, even, type thing.
Yeah.
When Slanesh is born, and all the planets get cut off from each other, and there's starvation and panic and corruption, what do you do with that technology? Considering you can blow up a mountain, essentially a lot of the death was caused by humans blowing up humans and killing each other.
I'm so surprised.
Which is one of the reasons why it's called the Dark Age of Technology, because all that technology was used to essentially like smack down
themselves. Right.
yeah.
Okay, well, I was here thinking
There,
it was like the golden age of growth and
I mean, it
learning and
was, but you know, when you look back at it,
in hindsight, there's a lot of murder.
yeah. So they did eventually figure out the warp drives in Gellerfields.
Yeah.
So they could kind of jump through, like punch through reality and pew pow. Which is great.
Is that what it sounds like in the warp?
Yes.
Okay.
They learned as well, like how bad things can go wrong.
Yeah, let's go hang out with our chaos buddies again.
I was actually having a chat with someone about it, and they were talking about that film. It's not Interstellar. No, it's I probably need someone in chat to shout at me about what the name
Well,
of
I
Event
watch
Horizon.
a lot of films. Okay, well.
Have you seen Event Horizon?
Yeah, but I was like, I don't have any context about what you're talking about yet. I was waiting for you to finish your sentence before I suggested things.
So, Event Horizon, I think they essentially get stuck in what is pretty much the warp.
Right.
And then all these kind of weird, warpy things happen. You know, like demons or, you know, monsters, weird events stuff.
Yes.
And then I think towards the end, one of them or someone gets like a look through, like, and sees the reality of what's beyond or something, and it's like it's so much worse. So that's kind of what happened every now and then in the age of technology, where they're like, we're traveling, and then they're like, no, we're stuck, and now horrific things are happening to everyone, and it's scary, and yeah. So,
for future humanity, don't play around with the warp. Let's just like go slow places. It's all right.
Don't mess with the warp, please. Thank you. But it did mean that they, you know, they could use the warp drives to like colonize faster and trade and communication, all these type of things. They even encountered other alien races. I was gonna say Xenos, and I was like, they're not Xenos yet.
Who's the first that they meet?
I
Making a mess.
I would guess that it was the orcs.
Oh, that would be a not wonderful meeting.
Yeah, I purely guess it would be the orcs, just because the orcs are everywhere, and the Eldar, for obvious. Well, no, the Eldar were around too.
Yeah, they got made around the same time, did they not?
Yes, but I in my head I was like, oh well, you know, the Eldar are kind of on their craft worlds hiding out. But it's like, no. It's the Eldar had a big empire, and they were, you know,
nice and extensive.
Yeah. Then you've got the navigators, which helped with that whole thing. The families started forming the houses.
How did the psykers sort of come back? Because obviously all the shaman sort of sacrificed themselves to make the new man. That's his name. And
yes.
So how did they come back into being? Did he go all a bit Zeus and
No. So essentially, the problems the shamans had wasn't that they were like dying.
Couldn't reincarnate.
They couldn't reincarnate, probably because of chaos.
Yeah.
Which meant that they didn't maintain their knowledge, and they couldn't help guide humanity.
But okay. So there are shamans, but not every psyker's a shaman, right?
I mean, there were shamans, and then they all kind of like coalesced into the emperor, pretty much.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not the only one. So
They're
it's
not the
like
only
astropaths
psychers.
versus navigators.
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because I
It
was like, if all of them are gone, how do they make more?
well, yeah. It's so navigators and psychers are essentially like mutations,
Yeah.
which means that they can still have mutations and stuff. They can still have new psychers being born randomly to random people.
Okay.
But you know, uh, in the end, like if they don't have the ability to like pass on their knowledge through reincarnation, things like that, it's going to get lost. It's going to get,
I'm nodding so you can see me, but yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Got it.
So
Oh, it's
one,
model.
this model difficult or
It's I
is
considered not building it and then
yeah.
like painting it separately, and I was like, no, it'd be fine.
You're
It's
now
not
regretting
fine.
that choice?
It's just a bit messier and a bit more like clean up,
Yeah.
but it's not too bad. Sorry.
So I'm trying to decide whether to talk about the STCs and
STC won't let me be.
the standard template construct.
Oh, okay. Less, well, probably more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it. Why not?
Okay. So I'll keep it very, very simple. During the age of technology, there were the STC's standard template constructs, which it was essentially like a database that were, kind of all over the place, and essentially allowed humans to build and maintain things that were super technologically advanced.
Right.
So, like you could like press a button and it would like make a spaceship
Oh,
type
okay.
thing.
So easier, especially if you are worried about losing knowledge and like
Yeah.
losing the technology you already have.
Needless to say, that type of thing is very, very prized in the
Beyond
Imperium now.
valuable. Mm.
So, um, but like most of the time, especially when you're a colonist who's just landed on a planet, you don't need complicated. You just need like a mower to mow your lawn type thing. So, they're not everyone's running around making giant spaceships and stuff.
No.
During this time, essentially the reason why religion just kind of disappeared was because humanity was all about technology and technological growth and exploration of the universe and the galaxy and all that type of thing. It doesn't say who was the first encountered, but the Eldar and the Orcs were one of the earlier ones who humanity kind of encountered and started having war with them.
It was the orcs that have decided if they just jump straight to war.
Yeah. Well, like they had the human versus alien wars. After a while, like mankind was really strong and super technologically advanced at this point. So it wasn't really like Independence Day. It was just kind of a bit more like Star Trek, I guess. Where they're like, oh, it's the Klingons. we have a fight, but we're not going to kill each other or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, mankind, they signed some treaties, the colonies, whoever needed to, just kind of trying to keep things reasonably chill. There were a lot of other aliens as well. I think a lot of them don't exist anymore.
Did humankind murder them?
Maybe.
Fucking humans.
Sorry,
I was holding a paintbrush in my mouth instead of putting it down.
Yeah.
Because, that's somehow easier. I know they're gone, but we don't know much about them, I'm assuming.
No. Like, a lot of this stuff is just kind of like conjecture and like vague lore, where it's like, yeah, there are probably other aliens, but
but
they don't exist anymore. So
yeah, I mean, that's it would be a good convincer for the Mechanicus if they were like, yeah, we've already killed a bunch of people, so you might want to just accept that you were working with us now.
Yeah.
Even though the Mechanicus will have been like earlier days.
And much more prominently as well, psykers started to turn up towards the end of the age of technology. Like kind of cropping up quite quickly, all over the place at the same time, which is kind of suspicious. But also, it meant that they were more influenced and easily corrupted by chaos, and
yeah, they don't have
all the psyker stuff. Obviously some places were like, "Oh, a new evolution of humanity! Yay! Let's see what they can do and let's protect them." And then others were like, "Witch, burn them!
Burn the witch!" That's what I'd be like. I'm joking.
One of the things that was the reason why humanity did so well and expanded so well and wasn't even worried about like the Eldar and stuff like that was because they had something that really helped them out.
A deal with Tzeentch.
No.
Well, someone does.
They had created artificial intelligence.
Ooh, we get to be mad about. Oh, shucks. It's all right. Dealing with paint issues. We get to be angry about that soon. That's exciting for me.
Yes. So, they were known as the Men of Iron and the Men of Stone. They were just robots for fighting, working, doing anything and everything that humanity needed them to do.
The busybody work.
Yes. Unfortunately, and there's no detailed explanation really, I don't think. But they eventually were like, nah, revolt.
Yeah. I mean, they probably weren't getting paid. Like, what did the Imperium of Man expect?
Yeah. No, it's So I mean, I'm just gonna read this like straight out. During this ancient conflict, remembered only as the cybernetic revolt, both sides unleashed fearsome weapons of advanced technology. These included the mechanivores, massive thinking machines capable of lifting entire continents and ripping open chasms on planetary surfaces that extended down to the world's core. The mechanivores could even absorb space-time itself as a form of data. Among the other terrible weapons of mass destruction unleashed at this time were the serpentine machines called sun snuffers that uncoiled into great structures in the void larger than the rings of Saturn and were designed to devour the stars themselves.
Why would you make that? Like, there's no good reason.
Hello, we are humanity. We could ask the same thing about quite a few things we've created.
Yeah, I know. But I haven't done those things personally.
Yeah.
I just chill out and I paint, you know. Um, I feel like they deserve it. They deserve the AI revolt.
Yeah.
Although I bet a lot of death happened.
Oh, yeah. That it was a full on like humanity got pushed to the brink
Oh,
of destruction.
well.
They did eventually win.
Mm-hmm.
It suggested that not by themselves either. Like there were other aliens and
Oh, someone help them out. You know who would have
I,
helped them out? The
the orcs.
Necrons.
They like a fight.
They do like a fight, yeah. That would
Although
be.
they probably like orcs don't super enjoy fighting necrons. I mean,
Uh,
they do, but you know, it's not as fun when you crunch something and it just kind of crumples and then reforms and
well,
you know.
did the AI have feelings? Because I mean, at some point they must have been pissed off.
Well, I mean, that's the question, isn't it? Are they really feelings if they're artificial?
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, artificial colorings are real, so.
The the problem with the problem that humanity essentially faced is that it had kind of had its back broken by the cybernetic revolt,
Yeah.
which essentially set the humanity just back a lot. And not long after this, warp storms start cropping up.
Yay!
It's essentially cutting. It's when Slanesh is born. All over the galaxy, you know, warp storms crop up. Like it essentially, it just wreaths the galaxy in no travelly times.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, a lot of trade was still happening between planets and stuff. You know, there'd be planets that would make food and a whole load of planets that would take that food and trade other things for the food. So, you know, if you get
Break your supply lines, yeah.
yeah, if you break your supply lines and you have like 300 billion people on a planet and you know, you have enough food for like 1 billion, then everything gets cut off and you can't travel in space anymore.
It needs to get resolved.
You are shit out of luck. Essentially, like humanity all over the place broke down into just barbarism.
Yeah. There's too much going on for them to at one time. They just need to sort it out. And I bet they were like over reliant on the AI as well.
Yes.
So
And there's not a super load of information about it, but essentially that's where the Age of Strife occurs. And we'll talk about that when we get back. But also, that's where the still existing fear and hatred for artificial intelligence comes from.
yeah.
Like even now in 40k, they do not like.
They don't mess with it.
Yeah, like servitors are just cybernetics who get like, you know, their brains globbed. They don't have sentience. They just work kind of vaguely.
And that's they have to take really short directions, don't they? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, they essentially get lobotomized and get cybernetic shit like molded to them. And then like they're like part man, part machine with no real awareness of existing. They just have, protocol to work or whatever.
One day, they'll revolt.
Yeah. If they did, it wouldn't be very effective.
No, probably explode. Well, I've done 2 colors, so that's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. But that is going to be the first section, and we will carry on next time.